Have you ever really thought about the secret life of your toaster? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and uncover the entire hidden story of our everyday appliances, from the second they're just an idea to the day we finally say goodbye. I mean, think about your refrigerator. It feels so simple, right? It's just a box that keeps your food cold. But its story started way, way before it ever got to your kitchen. And believe it or not, that story continues long after it leaves. So in this explainer, we're going to unpack that entire journey. And for the companies that actually make these machines, this isn't just some feel-good environmental exercise. No, this is a powerful business strategy. Thinking about a product's entire life, from cradle to grave, is fast becoming a massive competitive advantage. And that really gets to the heart of it. In a super crowded market, how do you make your washing machine stand out from all the others? Well, you design it to be smarter, more efficient, and a whole lot less wasteful over its entire existence. You turn sustainability into a real, tangible reason for people to choose your product. So, an appliance's environmental story, it begins long before you ever plug it in. It all starts on the design table in what's known as the cradle phase. Now, to guide this whole process, there are formal standards, an environmental product lifecycle standard. It sounds complicated, but it's not just some sticker they slap on the box. It's a really rigorous certification that looks at everything. I mean, the materials, the factory process, how it runs in your home, and what happens to it at the very, very end. And these design choices are actually super practical. We're talking about using common, easily recyclable materials like steel and aluminum, designing products so they can be taken apart with a normal screwdriver, not some crazy specialized tool, clearly labeling the parts so recyclers know exactly what's what, and of course, cutting down on hazardous materials from the get-go. It's all about planning for the end, right from the very start. Okay, so once that appliance leaves the drawing board, gets built, and finally arrives in your home, it enters the use phase. And this is the longest part of its life. And it's where the environmental story gets really, really impactful. Because here's the kicker. While the design and disposal are definitely important, the single biggest environmental footprint of your fridge or your dryer comes from the electricity and water it uses, day after day, year after year. This is a massive chunk of a typical household's total resource use. So, how do we know if companies are actually taking this seriously? Well, they're measured on it. This table shows two key metrics that investors and, frankly, smart consumers can look at. First, what percentage of their revenue comes from products with a top-tier energy efficiency certification? And second, what percentage comes from products that meet that full life cycle standard we just talked about? It's how you actually put a number on their commitment. But, everything comes to an end. Eventually, every appliance reaches the end of its road. The critical question then becomes, what happens next? Does it just end up in a landfill? Or does it get a second chance, an afterlife? This right here, this is the ideal journey for an old appliance. So, step 1, it all starts with that smart design for easy disassembly we mentioned. Then step 2, the company actively takes it back through recovery programs. Step 3, all those valuable materials, the steel, the polymers, they're recovered and recycled. And all of this fulfills step 4, their extended producer responsibility. And that's this powerful idea that a manufacturer's job isn't over when they sell you the product. They're responsible for its final chapter too. All right, so we've seen the cradle, the life, and the afterlife. But why do companies invest in all this? I mean, what's the payoff? Well, it turns out it's huge for them and for you. First off, it helps them win in the market. It's simple. When customers see a product that's designed to be better for the planet and, let's be honest, their wallet, they're way more likely to choose it. And that directly translates to a bigger slice of the pie. And that leads right to the second payoff, which is all about you, the consumer. A highly efficient appliance uses less energy and less water. That means lower utility bills every single month. Over the 10 or 15-year life of that machine, those savings really, really add up, dramatically reducing the total cost of owning it. And finally, it's just about being smart and getting ready for the future. Governments all over the world are passing more laws around recycling and producer responsibility. So companies that are already ahead of the curve, the ones with strong take-back and recycling programs, they're much better positioned to handle these new rules without scrambling. They're not playing catch-up. So, this leaves us with a final thought. The next time you're out shopping for a new appliance, don't just think about the price tag or the fancy features. Ask yourself, what's the plan for its entire life? Is its end actually part of the deal? This whole life cycle framework we've been talking about, it's guided by standards from organizations like the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, or SASB. They provide the roadmap for the entire appliance industry to measure and manage these impacts. Thanks so much for joining me.